The other day on the podcast, I Doubt It podcast, my podcast that I co-host with Brittany Page, we talked about when the moment was that we realized that it was going to be a lot worse this term than it was the first. And for me, that moment was when Donald Trump named or tried to install Matt Gaetz as the Attorney General. That's when I knew all bets are off. We're in a different era of Donald Trump. We're in a emboldened era of Donald Trump. We're in an era of Donald Trump absolutely understanding the new king-like power, demigod-like power granted him the Supreme Court of absolute immunity for his crimes. And it's getting worse and worse and worse. Not only has Kash Patel been installed through a bizarre just bending of the knee, just abdicating their role as a constitutionally, as a co-equal branch of government with advice and consent under Article 2, Section 2 of the Constitution. The Senate's just given it up. But not only is Kash Patel the FBI director, Donald Trump has made the deputy director of the FBI bomb-throwing dipshit fascist, Rush Limbaugh wannabe, Dan Bongino, the deputy director. Here is the post on Truth Social that is riddled with spelling and punctuation errors from the President of the United States, a supposedly Ivy League educated individual, a man who hasn't read a book, he's allergic to books, as well as salads, I think. But here, this is from February 23rd at 8:41 p.m. Eastern. Great news, he says, for law enforcement and American justice. Dan Bongino, a man of incredible love and passion for our capital C country, has just been named. You named him. How about say, I just named Dan Bongino to blah, blah, blah. The piss drinker has just been named the next deputy director of the FBI, in all caps for some reason, by the man who will be the best ever director, Kash Patel. Dan has a master's degree in psychology and an MBA from Penn State. He was a member of the New York Police Department, New York's finest, a highly respected special agent with the United States Secret Service, and now one of the most successful podcasters with a capital P in the country. Something he is willing and prepared to give up in order to serve. Working with our great new United States Attorney General Pam Bondi and Director Patel, fairness, justice, law, and order will be brought back to America, and quickly. Congratulations, Dan. He's a partisan hack who is a member of the cult. This is why he's the deputy director. And the reason this is a problem, I'm going to read a tweet from Dan Delanian, he's a NBC justice and I believe intelligence reporter, a guy he's deep in the areas that we're talking about here. And he spells out exactly why this is a problem. You see, one of the main complaints of MAGA and Donald Trump is this deep state narrative, this fake conspiracy theory bullshit that there's some kind of a deep state network of people trying to slow him down, the deep state. It's all just a fever dream of paranoia. But the reason you have people in positions like the deputy director and others throughout government is because of institutional knowledge, institutional experience. And when your top two people at the FBI have zero law enforcement experience, who have zero FBI experience, it's a problem. And it really does go to show that Donald Trump is not concerned whatsoever with actual law enforcement, with actual law and order. He's there for retribution and revenge and having the most bootlicky sycophants he can in there. And it would be very difficult to find a larger, more aggressive licker of boots than Kash Patel and Dan Bongino. They love it. It is, when these three get together in the Oval Office, it's the kind of eroticism that they would very much deny. These three fellas. So anyway, here's this tweet from Ken Delanian, again, a justice and intelligence reporter, I think from NBC. Traditionally, the deputy FBI director has been a career FBI agent. That is particularly important when the director has no experience at the FBI, as is the case now with Kash Patel. Zero experience. The only experience Kash Patel has is probably being investigated and interviewed by FBI agents that he has now fired because they investigated Donald Trump. Kash Patel, the guy who has written a children's book about the king or the emperor named Donald, who is saved by a learned wizard named Kash. That's our FBI director. Fantastic. Donald Trump tonight announced he is appointing as deputy director Dan Bongino, a former Secret Service agent and prolific conspiracy theorist. He has never spent a day working at the FBI, but he has spent many hours spouting baseless falsehoods about the Bureau, such as that the FBI lied when they said they don't have a suspect in the pipe bombs as outside the RNC and DNC on 1/15/21. Current and former FBI officials are appalled and extremely concerned for the national security of the country. This isn't about law enforcement. This isn't about having the best people on the job. This isn't about merit. This isn't about any of that bullshit. This is about covering Donald Trump and ensuring that his agenda of retribution is carried out. That's what this is about. And having these two dum-dums in charge of the FBI is a problem. And it's going to manifest itself. There's going to end up being a situation in this country that we need real sober-minded individuals to investigate. Look, there's always the threat of terrorism. There's always the threat of these white supremacist, violent actors who shoot up grocery stores, who shoot up Walmarts. There's going to be problems that need to be addressed by real serious law enforcement people. And these two aren't up to the task. They're there to assure Donald Trump isn't blamed for anything, and they're there to ensure his agenda of retribution is carried out against people like me, people like you, private citizen. I mean, I'm a private citizen too, but just everyday people who don't have the platform I have. Senators, congressmen and women. This is the stated agenda. And they are there because they love the boots so much. Little lapdogs there to do Donald Trump's bidding. It's a problem. What do you think? I invite you to this conversation. You can comment below. You can also call the voicemail line 714-576-4054. And of course, as always, you can email me daily@dollemore.com. I will see you next time. I love and appreciate you very much. Be genuine. Take care of one another.